I love this Rastafari. Just last year, all the way down there. Your mouth on full focus. Your mouth meditation position. Trinity. Come on. Positive.
I wish I would have went to this.
Go back where you were. Go back where you were.
another opportunity to discover the wonders of who we are and who we can be. There is no reason for it to be a good day, apart from you want it to be a good day. You understand? Yes. Only you can decide if it's a good day or not. I start off by drumming, chanting. This is a chant from the Rastafari culture. Do you know much about Rastafari? Yeah. Yes? Alright, you can tell me a little bit. Okay.
Your colors are orange, yellow, and green.
The gold.
Rainbow, red, yellow, green, yellow, red.
Alright, he said the colors of Rastafari are green, yellow, and red. Okay? The line of Judah is on the flag. Okay?
And let's stand up when you have comments so everyone can hear and share it.
You want to say something?
That big question.
Green, gold, and red. What are the colors of the Ethiopian flag?
The same thing.
Does the Rastafari flag look like the Ethiopian flag?
No, don't like a red. I got like a little circle with a star in the middle. Don't really got one the shape.
Alright, so we'll start the conversation from here, from the flag. The Jamaican, here we go. The Rastafari flag is green, yellow, and red, with the lion in the center. This was one of the original flags of Ethiopia. It was a long time ago.
And what I told you about it.
That's only about it. This is when Haile Selassie was emperor. Since Haile Selassie, since the dirt, and the dirt overthrew Haile Selassie, they changed the flag. And they took the lion out and they put in the Star of David. So the Rastafari flag represents the original flag of Ethiopia. What does Rastafari have to do with Ethiopia? Anybody knows?
About Haile Selassie.
Haile Selassie.
And the flag. Here is the American Bible.
No, in the Bible here. Genesis chapter. say Father, they sometimes say Father, Son, Holy Ghost, right? Right? But it's also what? Father, Mother, Child. It's creation. It's the essence of all things. That's the power of the Holy Trinity. It's creation. You can't have a child without a father and mother. That's the Trinity. Some say Father, Son, Holy Ghost. Some say Father, Son, Holy Spirit. But we also know that it's Father, Mother, Child.
Alright, so I'll have you guys ask some questions though, because I know you really want to talk about Bob Marley and reggae music. There we go. And tell me your name.
And mention where your parents are.
Oh yeah? So what have you been to Kingston?
Yes.
Yeah, what part? Yeah, you have a question?
You have a question, Mike?
Alright.
This is a rare opportunity. That's very
I have two questions. I have one about you and one about Bob Marley.
I was born in Jamaica in 1984.
Oh,
So I was born 3 years after my grandfather died. I mean, transition.
oh, so did I pretty much ask him?
I was
Bob Marley died 3 days,
3 years before. He passed away in 1981.
Oh, okay, sure. You didn't answer my question.
I was classed that this one like this. What is it about?
That is also a symbol to. It has many roots. This right here, this is your root chakra. This is your base. So when you do this, you're centering yourself. Because Haile Selassie also practiced yoga. Do you know yoga?
Yes.
Haile Selassie was known as a yogi. So when he would sit even, he would sit with both hands in the perfect position. So as to always center himself to receive and to give information. So when he stood, it was also in that position to receive and transmit information. It's also a peaceful greeting.
Why is he so comment? Comics. Like comic strips?
Oh, the comic book. Remember years ago they had the comic that was painted? I don't know if I collected them. They had, who asked that question about the comic? Okay, years ago, back when before you all were born, actually, they had a comic book out that was the first painted comic book. It was painted.
Yeah.
And there were about 7 of them in a series. And they were really rare. And I had them and I gave them away to R.A.S.T.A and Kwasi in Florida, who I thought needed that strengthening. But it was the first painted comic book I've ever seen. There were paintings of Bob. And then they made a story. It was about him growing up in Trenchtown. It's his whole life coming up through Rastafari. They have paintings of His Majesty. They have the Neville Garrick portrait of His Majesty in the background with Bob singing. And it's all paintings. Neville Garrick, I think, was involved with the but it immediately went out of print because they wanted to up the value of each one. So now they're incredibly expensive collector's items. But they were hand painted. Amazing. Very good question, you all. Have you seen the comic book, brother? You've seen it's amazing, right? You've never seen one like it, have you? All right, brother. They're painted, right? It's deep, right? All right, brother.
I've never seen it either. That was a good question. Thank you. Probably is. Why do you think so? Yeah. Same vibration. Nice. Thank you. Well, if you guys can sing with me.
Tell them how long you
Yeah.
first. Hold on, Aliana. First tell them.
I don't want to
Oh yeah, you said everything there. So it's on should we sing?
No, no cry.
The three little birds.
Yes. My father's name is Rita Prendergast. He's a football referee. Well, he trained referees to go to the World Cup. He's been to the World Cup twice to ref.
Soccer.
Yeah, soccer, sorry.
What was Bob Marley born?
Bob Marley was born on February the 6th, 1945.
My dad was close. He told me like he was born after 1 year.
Who? Your dad? He was born in 1982.
The Trinity.
So Empress's grandfather Bob Marley is light of the Trinity to Haile Selassie, power of the Holy Trinity. You see that? So they're linked forever. Okay?
And my baptismal name is Berhani Miriam. Means light of Miriam.
Like what?
Light of the Virgin Mary.
Mariam is the Ethiopian way of saying the Virgin Mary. Okay? Mariam. You all want to say Mariam?
Mariam.
That is Mother Mary. So Mama is Berhani Mariam, light of Mother Mary. These are all ancient names.
Alright, so let's start again.
I don't know any.
I don't know that. No, I do know some like
Alright, I'll start again. Ready?
No, I know.
As I say, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Wake up this morning, smile at the rising sun. 3 little birds on my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. I'm singing, don't worry, oh woman, don't cry. Who knows that one?
I don't know.
It's gonna be alright. I'm saying don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. So what's the next one? Don't wanna cry. Let's sing Don't Wanna Cry first, and then we'll get back to the question. Okay? Alright. Ready? Are you going to lead? Okay, let's go. I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown, and Georgie would make a firelight as it was love would burning through the night, and we would cook cornmeal porridge, yeah, of which I'll share with you. My feet is my only carriage, so I've got to push on through. But while I'm gone, I say, no woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry.
No woman, no cry.
Everything's gonna be alright. 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 No more man no cry. I got to say.
When you come out, I wanted you to tell them about your schooling, what you did in school, what you wanted to be when you grew up, and now what do you do now?
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about me first. I grew up in Jamaica. I was born in December, nighttime. I was the first of 4 children to my parents, and then my parents split up, and then my father had 2 other children. So I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and I'm the eldest. I'm the eldest of my generation, so I have about 8 first cousins. And one born and 8 over here. Yes. When I was in school, I wanted to be a psychologist because I love people. I really wanted to be a child psychologist because I love children. And then as I started to get older, I used to write a lot because I realized that I love moments with people, stories, ideas, poems. I love to watch movies, but when I watched the movies, I was listening to how they were speaking to each other, or how they were relating. I loved acting. And so when I was about 17, I started acting in theater. And I did a few plays. I was on stage in Jamaica for 4 years, 17 to 21. And I played a Cinderella. Yeah. I played a crazy psycho girl. I played a teenager in love who was with pressure, who had peer pressure from friends. And I also played a spirit of a young girl who loved her mother. So I loved acting. And then I came to school here in Washington, D.C. I went to Howell University. And I studied acting. And so I know these streets. One thing I realized when I was acting, I realized that I, as a Caribbean woman, I wasn't able to tell my own story. I was forced to tell African American stories, stories written by Zora Neale Hurston, which is beautiful. But I realized that there weren't any Caribbean writers, and there weren't any roles for Caribbeans, and there weren't any roles for Rasta women. So I went on another journey. I went to Africa with my grandmother. And she does a series called Africa Unite, where she goes through different countries in Africa and creating a space for young people to speak about how they would like to see their country being run. And she invited politicians and policymakers, and I was there experiencing all of these conversations. And I started to realize that maybe there is more to life than just acting on a stage. Maybe you can use your stage for something greater. Maybe you can use your stage for telling your story. But you have to empower yourself to choose first. And so I went back to Miami, to Washington, D.C. And I moved from D.C. to Miami to go to film school, where I learned how to use the camera. So now I make documentaries, I make movies, shoot music videos, tell stories. I don't have to watch TV because I make the TV.
Serious.
Or what? Or what? What do you think?
What?
I said why public charter school.
Okay, where should we do it?
JTB
Alright, we'll make it a collaboration.
But just so Mama knows, aren't AOC and Roots one? Aren't they one? No, it's not. It's one. Who founded both? Right, so they're one. And all things see that everything is one.
One boy speaking, everyone else is listening. Yes, my sister.
Could you act something out for us right now? What?
Please? Yes. What you say? Yeah, I'm good. Alright, come on. Can I help you?
Girls, curses.
Alright, take your time. We're about to have an action class. Alright, where are the actors? Where are the actors? All the actors next stage.
How do you guys like this presentation so far? Do you all want to give a big thank you to Mama Nana and the entire culture team for allowing
Yes, Africa stretch forth her hands and give thanks for the deliverance of a man who stands firm in his own countenance. I descended upon the mountain of Zion. I saw the lion. The world shall know. So great is him. I know great is the King of all kings. Yes. So great is him. I know great is the King of all kings. Yes. Giver of life, for black, for white, for red, green, and gold. Ethiopia stands bold, while Marcus I prophecy is unfold. Yes, never you wait, for the time is now. Can't wait till judgment come. Tomorrow never forward. Tomorrow never forward. No, 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 no. In my Father's house there are many mansions, and if it wasn't so, then I wouldn't say so. No, 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 no.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today we are having a very impromptu performance and a very interesting take on the story of Bob Marley and his children. Let's see how it goes. Ready? Please welcome Rita Marley and Bob Marley's mother and her friend. This is Sista Booker and her friend. What's her name? Maria. Sista Marley Booker and Maria. Over here we have Bob Marley. Rita Marley.
I'm going to get married. No.
Rita. However, his mother does not want him to marry a Rasta girl, especially a black girl from the ghetto. They go ahead and they get married anyways. And when they get married, they have about 13 children. One voice speaking, everyone else is listening. After Bob Marley went and married Rita, they had a few children who went on to become a singing group called Ziggy Marley. Where's Ziggy? Ziggy, step forward. Sharon, step forward, Sharon. Steve, step forward. One voice. These were the singing group called Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers, who in collaboration with Bob Marley and Rita Marley are going to lead us in singing One Love, One Heart, let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying One Love, One Heart, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
Mama's mother is Sharon Marley, okay, the oldest Marley daughter.
Thank you, God.
From him, and them was in a bar, Trinity. And when I go inside of the bar, and I write a hard first. The earthquake start, and everybody bowing Lord for Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ, what happened?
I can only imagine.
But you work with him, man?
No, the Brethren does programming throughout the area, and he reasons with the Rastafari elders at Sankofa on Saturday.
Well, this was one of them Rastafari even before Jamaica, before Bob Marley. Bob Marley, Peter Touch, Bunny Wheeler, all of the, I'm born in Kingston and grew up in Westmoreland.
Yeah.
I go to Westmoreland 1951 and meet great-grandmother and I asked her if I can live with her. I said, no problem.
Just tell us about your t-shirt.
My t-shirt business.
We've been in conversation.
Give me 1 second, let me just get this quick.
Buddy, so what's your name, guy?
Nakai Hicks.
Nakai Hicks?
Yes.
All right, you have a business, huh?
Yes.
What type of business do you have?
A shirt business.
A shirt business?
Yes.
T-shirts?
I only really do my shirts in my room because I'm not really ready to go outside and make my store yet. But when I do, you can come to it anytime, and I make any kind of shirts. First, I'm starting off with my Name Rings Bell shirt, and then I can go on with Ethiopian shirts, Jamaican, any kind of shirts you need.
Okay, that's good. You have any contact information?
Well, you can call my mother on 202-440-5550. And
You have an you have an email address?
No, I don't have one yet, but when I do, I'll try to find you.
All right, well, definitely, man. You're gonna be in High Vibration magazine one day, man, with your T-shirt business.
I do. Sometimes I model for shows, and I might be on a magazine because I went to New York for a photo shoot.
Oh yeah. All right, that's cool, man. All right, we're gonna keep in touch with you, man. We're gonna show some support to your T-shirt business. All right.
Okay.
All right, give thanks. You had fun today?
Yes.
Met Donisha?
Yeah.
Yeah, participated in a little play, huh? Who were you today?
Ziggy Marley.
You were Ziggy Marley? All right. All right, man, we're going to say sign off right now, man. You take it easy, all right?
Okay.
Give thanks. Bless it.
Please welcome Baba Kamara, Roots Public Charter School.
Greeting in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, Jah Rastafari, Kanamawi Ya Kanamawi, Lord of Lords, Negus Negesti, King of Kings, Madhani Alam, Savior of the world, Jah Rastafari. I have to share this sound before I get into my word sounds. This is such a blessing, Sister Dutty, because I would not be a Rasta today, and this is the truth, if it wasn't for one album. I was raised with really conscious parents. I was always raised knowing that there were African kings and queens. But how many of us were really raised to know that we have African emperors, Ethiopian emperors? I didn't know this. I looked on the back of the Exodus album. I was in junior high school. I turned and I see His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. And I said, I know it's something about this man. My life ain't been the same since. And by the way, everyone who had the Exodus album, if you look at the way the letters are written, Exodus, if you look at it, in America it says Fatah, which is breaking the chains. So the artist, I think it was Neville Garrett, who did that for the guy's grandfather, was on some mystic, on a natural mystic, on some heights. Because that Exodus says Fatah in America. Rastafari, Selassie I the first. So I want to bless the light with some word sounds. So glory to word, glory to sound. Glory to power, glory to Jah Rastafari. Each of these sounds is made with love songs. So I put them together and I realized that if you really take all the titles of Bob songs and a few of the lyrics, you really can make many poems out of them. So this is Light of the Trinity. Just so the guys know, Bob was baptized in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church in Ethiopia as Berhane Selassie. That's Light of the Trinity, to Haile Selassie, power of the Holy Trinity. So ones, you know, might want to cite that up. So Light of the Trinity for Berhane Selassie. The Right Honorable Robert Nesta Marley, Order of Merit, Jamaican Order of Merit. Sun is shining, the weather is sweet. Go tell it on the mountain in a Rasta man chant, African herbs man. For you are the head cornerstone and a duppy conqueror. Black survivors, living evidence beyond their guiltiness and their burning and looting to make us their soul captives. But we know that we are soul rebels, putting a small axe to their so-called big tree. For over 400 years in this here concrete jungle, where our roots, rock, reggae, keeps on moving, riding high with a rebel's hop, feeling it in this one drop of rebel music, where we don't need no more trouble. So please, don't rock my boat, because this mellow mood is a one-way ticket to my dreamland. That rainbow country of green, gold, and red, where I don't want no wait in vain to Exodus to Ethiopia, this Garden of Eden, where I don't have to ask, is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? For I know that Jah is mighty, so almighty, and we are iron, like a lion in Zion. Jah children, Jah live, yeah. Haile Selassie is the chapel. That was for the temples I Rastafari Selassie the first. Lights up.
It is a pleasure for me to introduce to you Empress Wolete. Give thanks. She's going to make us on behalf of I.D.O.R Development Director.
Greetings in the name of Kidmawi Haile Selassie I and Empress Menen Asfa. I bring greetings to you today under the banner of I.D.O.R, the Universal Development of Rastafari. I am the newly elected president of that organization. And here is the just much Kwasi Bonsu, also known as Attorney Kwasi Bonsu. And he's also under the banner of I.D.O.R as our chairman. And we just wanted to block a sound to let ones know that I.D.O.R is still in the community, doing works globally and domestically. In Ethiopia, there are 3 projects taking place. The first project is the Rastafari Medical Elders Project, and that caters to the elders within the repatriated elders and any elder that's in need in the Shashimani region of Ethiopia, residing within that Malkota land grant area. And we fund that program and put the things in place to make sure that our elders are taken care of. The secondary program is the Nyabingi Fund Program, which is a program that's in place to try to build a Nyabingi Daughters Quarters, which would be a place for the Sistren to reside when they go over to that region. And our third project that's happening is the
family here. We have empowered the women of Ethiopia to start a publishing company. They've published their first book already and they will be publishing more. So we have a lot of projects. Every Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. at Sankofa Bookstore on Georgia Avenue, 2714. The Universal Development also hosts the Haile Selassie Study Group. And you are all welcome to come and join us every Saturday as we study the teachings of His Imperial Majesty. I would like to also give honor and respect once again to our Executive Director, our Ancient of Days, Bongo Ras Iris. Please put your hands together for our living archives. We're in for a treat. I don't want to talk too long. I will return to our President. I also want to make mention to our Vice President who is serving food right now, Mama Fia. Put your hands together for Mama Fia. Also, our Secretary who is taking pictures in the back of the room is Wally Kings, aka Ras Wolete. So put your hands together for the I.D.O.R family that is here.
Yes, I give thanks. I.D.O.R is in its 10th year since its inception, and prayerfully there will be a grand celebration probably at Howard University or in the vicinity in November at that time. We look forward to everyone coming out and giving support to celebrate with all of I&I the successes of I.D.O.R and the future plans. one of the major goals of I.D.O.R at this time is to get a space, to get a building in the community in the Washington, D.C. area, a place that we can offer rental space to other organizations needing space, a place that we can possibly have internal community programming, some place that we can house the Sankofa study group that's currently held over at the Sankofa bookstore on Georgia Avenue. Just a place that we can come together and do what we do as people of African descent. So we give thanks for all of your support. When you see the I.D.O.R name, look forward to positive things that are bridging the gap between I and I that are in the West and our brothers and sisters in the East. So we give thanks.
Okay, so this is an ongoing fundraiser. Again, one of our goals is to get a space where we can have events like this more frequently, and we can also provide space for other organizations looking for those types of services. So we are on the move. You there?
So true.
Thank you, family. All right, we're gonna get the lights.
All right, nice. Everybody belly full? Full now. So we can take in some information, we can travel around the world now, right? Because we have a few thousand miles to go. Alright, greetings everybody, my name is Donisha Prendergast. And this evening you're about to take a journey around the world with me as we seek to discover the roots and the evolution of Rastafari from the perspective of a young woman on a journey. Beyond being born Rita Marley's granddaughter, I'm a young woman of this world trying to see her role through historical and cultural investigation, you know. So approach this film with open mind, open ears, open hearts, and then we could have some reason afterwards. See? Give thanks for coming forward and for being a part of these beautiful, 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 beautiful moments. I think I'm so happy to be here. I have not tried to give this child back to his mother. You know, it's not very often that we get to spend simple moments with ones who are really family. You know, so again, I give thanks for these moments. While I'm talking, we'll move to the film. Is a Rastafarian. And everybody who decides to be a vegetarian is a Rastafarian. A Rastafarian is somebody who walks the steps, who lives the life every day. In January 2003, I was in a horrible car accident. This is a few weeks after I decided to lock my hair. A car undertook another car and hit me. And my car spun 2 times across the road to the other side of the road and hit a tree. And I was lying there unconscious. Everybody thought I was dead. I woke up to the light shining above me on the hospital bed. I had no scratches. I had shed no blood. Tears, lots of tears. But it was amazing to know that I walked out of that experience with not one scar, knowing that everybody thought I was dead. After that, I was a totally changed person. Now I was beginning to understand what my mother was talking about when she said that this crown draws both positive and negative energy.
This coronation was a spectacular event which attracted the attention of the world.
He's coming from that rocking heaven, and that's him that played. So the nation go like David when you're getting high. Our majesty, king of kings and the Lord of lords, conquering land of the
Emperor of Ethiopia arrived. The crowd in Roxy were playing to the drum.
parents when they were here to Jamaica.
How old are you?
Probably 16, 17.
Such long time in Rasta thing, man.
Yes, so you believe.
It's to be born in 1966, but the police here does your food. If you are talking around, it's to shop on the box of food.
To see the whole population of Jamaica turning out to pay respect to the first.
Music is a beginning. Music as what has really liberated us as Rasta people in life, you know, to be able to. Now, like when I was a little youth, you couldn't go to school with lax. Now you can go to school in Jamaica with lax. Music is really what has done all of this for us. The people who don't know about Rastafari, Rasta people in general. And you might encounter different people. You have to know something about Rasta people. It's a very open-minded thing. It's a very free thing. It's a liberty. You know, it's not really something that's a really rigid thing. It's not just urban music. There's a lot more to it.
Front, home, and the drums beat loud and proud, and I go marching on no longer to run away like a Babylon. So the Babylon beat high, scorn high, flying high face with white supper like one doing, commit all sorts of manner of sin against her. I shall shout thy vision in the highways, I shall travel thy ways, spread it wherever thy people dwell, to swell the wealth of Babylon. There shall I reveal, and not conceal, a vision of Africa, of black man I risen, and rainbow glory.
As we come to the culmination of our program, most of you have heard of the Occupy Pinnacle movement. And this sister not only is a theater major, an artist, a poet, an entrepreneur, she's an activist. She could be doing many other things with the Marley name, but she chose to actually fulfill the works that I feel, and all of us feel, Robert Nesta Marley would be doing today. She's at the forefront of the Occupy Pinnacle movement, and we'd like to hear from her. Give thanks, Sister Donisha Prendergast.
Give thanks, sis. All right. How do you feel? We just journeyed right around the world. Eh? And I'm not tired. Lots of questions, lots of comments. I'm looking forward to especially hearing from the elders, because this is a trad of a young woman learning about the roots and the evolution of Rastafari. From, of course, everybody has individual perspectives. Growing up in Mali is different from growing up Rastafari. This is one of the things that I observe after I come off of the journey, you know? Because then you really realize that the world almost creates an illusionary and imaginary bubble around the Mali family that keeps us separated from reality in a lot of ways. And it's because artists and artist life demand so much time on the stage. There's not very much time left off the stage to trot through the streets and really get a fullness of what is happening from the ground, you know. So the close of the documentary spoke about Pinnacle and Leonard Howell. I grew up in Rastafari, I grew up in reggae music, I grew up in the Marley family, one of the premier families in the world, yet still, I never knew about Leonard Howell until I started doing my documentary 4 years ago. How is that possible? So I posed the question, not just to my family, but to the Rastafari community too. How is it possible that Leonard Howell's name has been hidden from I and I as the youths? I don't know if it's the same thing for the elders, but this is a serious meditation. Within Rastafari, the music has brought us to a place. The music has brought us so far away from ourselves, sometimes I feel that it's hard to say those words. The music has kept us singing and dancing and skanking, without doing the work that is necessary. And it's not to fight against the music in any way, you know. It is just to understand that there was a time and a place for the music, and it come in like we did love the music so long we just go and dance while the work left to do. Talk to me. So we are standing here in 2014 now, and many of us have not even touched the ground of Africa. But yet still so much billions of dollars make off of reggae music. Should we talk some truth, or we just go and smile?
Truth.
Yeah. I really believe that now is a time. We're having these discussions in Washington, D.C. There's so many things I want to say. But I just want to really and truly give thanks for all the ones who put hands and hearts together to let these moments be able to live in a real way. Coming off of the Pinnacle in Jamaica to come forward here in the Howell, because it's cold. Okay, it's very cold. But there is so much warmth and joy from our land last night. It's just pure smiles I'm seeing. You know? I'm coming from a place where we're not smiling so much. Truly. So it's good to feel this warm energy again, because right now we're just like kick down Babylon teeth in a Jamaica, you know? How can you help? My brother gave me a card a while ago about land sustainability, right? We need talent, we need minds, we need ideas, we need sharpening. Beyond finances, we have a whole community to recreate. In my view, Pinnacle will become that space, that gateway to Africa, that 12 tribe was supposed to be, that Bingi was supposed to be, that Boba was supposed to be, but because there were so many petty differences, it stopped way. Because if you're not black, you can't come in there. So the white woman can't come in there, the Chinese can't come in there. When it's the same vision, the same mission, we have evolved from that space where we had to be. What does Africa look like today? What does she look like today? How do you tell this child that she's not African? We have to step beyond those petty differences now of I am Bingi and I am Boba, and so therefore you can't wear pants. That comes like a joke. Because at first I overstand it, you know. Let's just put certain things into context, because traditions are very important. But one thing I'm going to say, if it is holding us back, how important can it be? The other day when we were in Jamaica, an elder Rasta woman said to me, she said, "Sister, one day if it wasn't for wearing my pants, the man them rape me." Now how you respond to something like that? You know? When a Rasta Empress decided to put on her pants, she must know why she decided to put on her pants, yeah? And have to give us some trust now. Now are the times when you need to put the woman to the front, because then we'll shoot the man them quick. His Majesty spoke and them said, educate a woman and you educate a nation. Empress Menen tells us that the one thing women have in common is war and children, because we don't like wars, because we have to raise children. So I implore the Empress within this time as well, feel strong and step forward and contribute everything that you can. Take the teachings, be humble enough to learn, to take and to move. And for the men, I pray thee sharpen us and stand beside us. Teach us how to fight and to kick down Babylon front door. Okay, I will talk a lot, you know, but I want some questions, comments, answers. Yes, my brother.
I just want to say, and I hope that a lot of one men felt this as well. Nonsense, like, really, you just go. One thing that's very unique about what you did, because you took us on such a journey, you really brought, I think, all of mine, I know for the I personally, to those first-time Irish. You really kind of, you know, reminded and revealed ourselves about why we really were elected to come upon this tradition, why we were chosen to be chosen. So I give thanks for giving thanks. I will bless.
Give thanks, my brother. Give thanks. That's my sister.
Yes, sister, I heard you speaking last night on the radio, and when I came in and I saw you, I kept looking at you because you look like another kind of little elder Rasta sister named Kuda. Anybody agree? She looks like Kuda. But all I can say, sister, is thank God for you. Thank God for you. I think the film was beautiful. It was magnificent. And I love your spirit. I love your creativity. I love your energy. You are a blessing to us, sister. You are a blessing.
Good thanks, Mama. I was at the Bob Marley Museum one evening and a group called the Nomads were performing. There's some actors in Jamaica, the poet group, and Bob Andy is standing beside me. And you know, the youth them on stage and the vibes are going nice, and you know, out in the silence, Bob Andy utters and he says, these are the moments we dreamt of. Right now I'm standing in the future. And that was such a humbling thing for me to be able to just stand and hear the wind just bring those word sounds to me. You know? So I am truly honored to be able to manifest a future that our elders laid the way for. Because all I am is your fruit. You are the ones who created I and I. You sharpened us. You taught us what to do and what not to do. You told us when to speak and when not to speak. And so we learned discipline, and we learned to be soldiers of His Imperial Majesty and Empress Menen. Now feel confident that we are your fruit, from your line and your tides, your blood and your sweat. No different, no different. We are just the evolution of your revolution. That is what it is.
We hold the prayers and praise. We keep the firelight ablaze. We care for the children and stand strong with our men. We hold to God's unchanging hand. This beautiful black woman, she is my sister, and my sister is me.
Education has increased to me now in a great, great way. In a way that demands so much greater of us. Just like His Majesty said, we have to become bigger and greater than our environment and experience has prepared us to be. We have to put aside the petty differences. We must become members of a new race. There's some serious meditations that, you know, what does that mean? That means we're no longer black, white, Buddhist, Christian, Rasta. It's just a true oneness. A thought just came into my mind, and so I will share it as it comes. In the film, my grandmother said that His Majesty, when His Majesty came to Jamaica, and him driving through, and him waved to her, and she saw the mark in his hand. And many people think that my grandmother mad. Many people laugh at her and say, Rita can't make up story. Yeah. And you know, it's the other day I having a reasoning with our elder, and the elder showing me, say, him read a book about His Majesty, and His Majesty's nurse is talking about how the Majesty was. And while he was in exile in Bath, he used to call in to hear and to see what was happening in Ethiopia. Before he came over, he had gotten some burns from mustard gas in the centers of his hand. So it's interesting how ye have little faith. That when my grandmother tell the ones them say, she see the mark in the Majesty hand, all of I and I call her mad. We have to have faith beyond what the physical eyes can see for what is truth, but what you feel. No man can define truth for you, you know. It's what you feel defines truth. Truth is an emotion, it is not a word sound.
I don't want Rasta to break up. I don't want us to fail at the things that we said that we were going to succeed at. I don't want us to become a story that people talk about. We are the success of the Africans that were stolen away and left in the West. We are the heartbeat that is keeping Africa alive for the youths them to come and know her. We trot through Africa right now and some of the Africans don't even know Africa the way I know Africa, because we have preserved her from that time until now. We love her. And you know why we love her so much? Because we were taken away from her. So it's a child who wants to know his mother. A child who needed his mother. That's who we are. And because of that, we are also a broken people. These things we have to overstand in moving forward. And because we are broken people, have you ever heard that thing that says hurt people only hurt people? We have to understand these things about ourselves. And before we try to save the world, try to save yourself. There's so many things that I want to talk about. Alright. As was said, briefly mentioned in the documentary about Leonard Howell, let me give you a greater context of who Leonard Howell is, and maybe some of the elders can help I and I along this journey to tell you this truth. Leonard Howell is the first man to come to Jamaica and show everyone an image of His Majesty. He's the first Jamaican man, the first man in history to proclaim the divinity of His Majesty. This man go across the country from Port Morant to Spanish Town, talk to me Ras Irish, and stand up and talk about His Majesty and burn out the Queen and burn out all of these colonial structures. Now, when we're looking at Rastafari from a historical and cultural perspective, we have to look at it within the context. Leonard Howell is the key to Jamaican history right now. The key to unlocking so many things that they try to hold back against us. Hey, it's murder and murder of Bob Marley, you know. Full stop, you heard it here tonight. Seal, seal, seal. You don't have a question again. Who are we? Who are we? Them know. So we have to know and stop take ourselves for fool and for artists and them thing. Who are we? The whole world depends on Jamaica to know what the new dance is, what the new song is, what the new word swag is. The world is depending on Jamaica to recenter itself in a great way. I can't explain that. Who knows what that is? Who knows why it is that the story was written the way it was written? We don't know, but we just have to know. You know?
Who feels it knows it.
Questions? Any questions? Any comments? Yes, Mama Farika.
I'm asking you to look up Annie Harvey. This is a lady who went to the coronation and brought back photographs of the emperor. And it is said that Howell got those photographs from her. So there was a woman in the mix. I'm just introducing you to. Remember her name and then, yes.
Give thanks. You see how the bits and pieces of the story put themselves back into perspective. That's why we have to be open enough to share what we know, you know. Because some of it might just be a piece of the truth and you'll get a next piece of the truth over here. So, you know, as a documentary filmmaker, I realized that everybody's opinion is valid. It is valid. You may not agree with it, you may not accept everything, but it is valid. Annie Harvey brought back images of His Majesty, and it is said that Leonard Howell got those images from Annie Harvey. Because she was at the coronation. Was she a Jamaican woman? Panamanian. Alright, so we have to go do some research then. Annie Harvey A, and then IDHARVEY. Okay, good. Any other pieces of history you want to drop in? Yes, Dutty. Here.
Now go straight so far.
Greetings. So this the piece of the puzzle that Nana Farika just shared, actually it's in an interesting book called Dread History. It has a long subtitle, I won't try to recall it now, but I actually just finished reading it today. It's a very quick read. It's like an essay. And another interesting piece of this puzzle is, and it kind of shocked me, but I've heard it in bits and pieces before, that, give thanks Mama Wolete, Dread History, Leonard P. Howell and Millenarian Visions in the Early Rastafarian Religion by Professor Robert A. Hill. And another piece of the puzzle, as I was saying, is as Leonard Howell was selling pictures of His Majesty in the streets of Jamaica, he took it to the headquarters of the UNIA, and Marcus Garvey told him he cannot sell the pictures there. And that was kind of the genesis of the split between him, because they were close colleagues and they knew each other in New York. And that was kind of when Leonard P. Howell split and took up a different kind of location and sold his pictures there. And Garvey has written letters and editorials kind of criticizing the religious aspect of the Rastafari sect, as it was called at the time. And even though he was in the same spirit of what was at the time called Ethiopianism, which was the spirit of the times, as I come to understand and overstand, but he did not want to take it in a religious route, and he kind of, for that reason, cut himself off from the glory of the king. And so I think even in this time, one of the bridges that has to be mended is between the current UNIA and the current Rastafari to bring us back together in terms of one is more organizationally minded, the other is more spiritually minded, and we need both to move forward as a people.
Wait, that's it. Yes, brother. So Dread History is available right over here. Sister Wolete has Dread History, the book, available right over here. Two storybooks as well.
And I'll be well brief, but there's one fact that many ones don't know. The Right Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey wrote a letter to His Majesty to ask His Majesty to become a member of the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association. His Majesty personally wrote back, okay? Personally wrote back. Not the Secretary, not the personally wrote back, okay? And he wrote back to tell Marcus Garvey, I thank you humbly for your invitation to the UNIA, but I must humbly decline on the grounds that I am not a Negro. Now Marcus Garvey took this as to say that His Majesty was saying he was not a black man or an African, which in an interview with J.A. Rogers, His Majesty clearly said, I am an African. Okay, I am a black African. He said that himself in an interview with J.A. Rogers. So that was not what he was trying to tell Garvey. He was trying to tell Garvey, you, my brother, are not a Negro. You, my brother, are an African. So we may want to really check that. When we say Universal Negro Improvement Association or National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, we have to watch for these things, because Africans look at us then and say, wait a minute now, we want to link with the eye, but we want to link with the African in the eye. Who wants to link with a Negro and anyone? Rastafari, Sista the first eye. Allah bless.
These little bits and pieces of information are so key, because it is also said that Marcus Garvey went to visit with His Majesty as well, went to visit when His Majesty was speaking. And he stood waiting on the Majesty to acknowledge him. And the Majesty apparently didn't acknowledge him in a way that was suitable for him and didn't stop to speak with him. and Garvey took personal offense to this. And since that time it has further separated the Rastafari movement from Garvey's movement. Now watch this key. In the 1960s, when the government commissioned the university academics to write the history of Rastafari, the paper was written highlighting Marcus Garvey as the founder of the Rastafari movement, and it left out every last word about Leonard Howell. So, check it. Those moments threw off the entire movement, because then we looked towards Marcus Garvey and not seeing that Leonard Howell was standing right there as well. So the principles of the movement became fuzzy. So the self-sustainable practices that Howell was talking about, the building of the communities that Howell was talking about, the advancement that Howell was talking about on the ground first. We forget that part and we just jump to we need to go back to Africa. Which is great, how we need to go back to Africa, but do you know how to build? Do you know how to speak any African languages? Do you know how to plant a seed and when is the right time to plant the seed? All of those moments were forgotten. Let me not say forgotten, they were put aside because the music also came and played a great role in Rastafari, the healing of Rastafari after we went through so much trials and tribulations. Oh, okay, guys, just come, let me start on the stage. Yeah, so we have a lot of research to do, it seems like, and Leonard Howell was also a student at Howell University. Leonard Howell was a student at Howell University. He was a member of the UNIA in New York. So before he started the Ethiopian Salvation Society, he was a member of the UNIA. However, he and Garvey split over those same things when Garvey started to separate himself from the divinity of His Majesty. Nana Farika.
The Marcus Garvey piece, I'm not going to pursue it because it has more twists and turns than is obvious, and it will take up the whole thing. But I wanted to share from my book called Sista, just a little mention. I'm going back to I.D.O.R. Brother Howell, often called the first announcer of the Rastafari faith, who was later reputed to have witnessed the coronation himself, had in fact adopted the practice of circulating copies of His Majesty's coronation postcards from Sista Anjahla, whom he met in Harlem, New York. David and Annie Harvey had indeed witnessed the coronation and went on to initiate a Methodist ministry in Costa Rica, recognizing the divinity of His Imperial Majesty.
There's more, but you will have to buy the book. It is called Calling Sister Love, written by Nana Farika. It will be released very shortly. That was agreed. I'm going to buy that book, a few copies. Thank you. Yes, sis.
And we also want to let people know that Nana Farika is also in the process of publishing her works, and we want to make sure those works are preserved. And she has a website raising funds, gofundme.com/Island in this Sun. We really need ones to put even a little $5 and $5 here and there, because what she shared with me is that her historical perspective is going to raise the awareness of all Jamaicans in the diaspora and all Africans looking to learn more about Jamaica. So it's not just a Rasta thing, it's something that's going to even assist with the information you're sharing.
Okay, alright, so we'll have to get ready to wrap up. I think we have just about 10 more minutes left, but I'll leave them open for questions. Okay, alright.
Yeah, greetings. Yeah. I just want to say something in regards to the Marcus Garvey situation, because I know if we break it, we want to put back all the pieces together. You know what I mean? Marcus Garvey teaching bring a whole lot of people to His Imperial Majesty, including Leonard Howell. But what we must understand is who need to be a part of what. His Majesty don't have no need to be a part of the UNIA. The UNIA need to be a part of His Majesty. You know what I mean? So it's not any separation in it. It's just that when you ask somebody to come down here, you need to ask people to go up. You know, so we're moving forward and not backward. See? Like the brother say, it's not an ego thing. I.D.O.R Almighty, we all need to be a part of it. See? Blessings.
Give thanks. Greetings and blessings to everyone. I'm Mama Tradition, and I like what the brother just said. I've been wanting to say something all night, but everything that African people have gone through since we've been brought to the shores of North America, South America, and the Caribbean has been like climbing stairs, climbing steps. Like he said, I don't need to be a part of what someone else has created in order to establish who I am. If I know who I am, I don't need to take on your attitude and dress like you and talk like you and act like you. So me being born in Mississippi is an African born in the South. But I still, no matter where you're born, you're African. So this diaspora war that we've been fighting for years upon years and territorial wars, we need to drop it. So that's what's holding us back. One thing for sure, a man without land is worthless. And if you don't have some land with your name on it, and if you don't know how to grow some food, I don't care what you write and what you do, you're nobody. Nobody's going to respect you. So see, me here, born in Mississippi, my great-grandfather was a slave in Norfolk, Virginia. Took the slave master's boat, paddled down river to Mississippi and bought 500 acres of land. The first black man in Mid County to own land. So if you come with something, come with some power. Land is power. Land is worth something. Right now, we need farmers. We need to be growing our own food. We need to stop going in Kroger, Safeway, and trusting these people when they write organic on something to believe it. It's not true. They sprayed everything. They fertilized everything. They're just telling you that. So you better know your farmer. You better know your growers. You better know what you're intaking, because this is how we're going to be poisoning ourselves. And they're sitting back around the round table saying, yeah, we got them going. We got them going on this organic thing. Let's spray some more chemicals, let's spray some more preservatives, and that's what's getting us. See, we just so confused with these labels. On my birth certificate in 1946, they said I was colored. Guess what? My birth certificate got stolen in 2003 in New York. They sent me a new one, and guess what it said? I'm an African American. Now, how did I become from colored, from Negro, black, and now African American? No matter where you're from, you're still an African. So we need to stop taking the titles that they've given us. They are not our mothers and fathers. We are their mothers and fathers. Okay? Remember that. And don't ever forget that His Majesty had established the Ethiopian World Federation in 1937. How long ago was that? There's a platform that we can all climb up toward if we want to. Everything is there. You need to study your real, true history. And that's the confusion. You see this Willie Lynch letter that some of us don't even know exists? It still got some of us under that spell. And when I met your grandmother and your grandfather in 1974, I didn't know anything about Rasta. But when I met Bob, he said, you Rasta. I'm like, what's Rasta? You Rasta. He said, you eat meat? I said, no. You comb your hair? No. He said, you Rasta. So from that, the tradition got on me. I didn't get on it. Okay? And I've been trotting on that road for 40 long I was getting subscriptions for the Survivor newspaper. You may not even know it because you wasn't born yet. Okay? So yeah, it's a lot of stories that haven't been told. And we all got bits and pieces of, like the brother said, there's many parts to this puzzle, many pieces, and it's all correct. But we got to put it in context. And the main thing is we got to love ourselves first and love each other equally. You can't love yourself more than you love me. I can't love myself more than I love you. That's not unconditional love. If you see me hungry, you can't laugh and say, go away, you're hungry, dirty Rasta. If I say I'm hungry, feed me. If I don't have any clothes, hey, here, take mine. I got more at home. Okay? So we just got to put it together. Thank you for your work, sister, and continue, because you're on a path, you're on a journey, and you know it. So just travel wise. Travel wise. And brothers and sisters, I'm on the Harriet Tubman journey, headed to Boston right now, where I go every year to celebrate Harriet Tubman. That's one of our ancestors from this country, who said she freed how many slaves? Hundreds and thousands, and she would have freed more if they'd only known they were slaves. So if you don't know you're a slave, find out you won. You can be free too.
Kwasi had something to say. I'm going to get ready to close up.
I just want to add a little piece to the history of Marcus Garvey, UNIA, and the connection with Ethiopia. In the 1930s, after the coronation, there was an influx of UNIA members into Ethiopia because the coronation inspired a lot of black Americans, black Hebrew Israelites to go in. Professor Abbey Ford of Howard University, his father, is a great example. He wrote the national anthem for the UNIA. His family migrated, but one of the things that the history books have not taken into consideration is that when Italy invaded, a lot of those new immigrants were actually left Ethiopia. The Ford family was unique because on his deathbed, Professor Abbey Ford's father made his wife promise that she would never leave Ethiopia. So they ended up staying and established the first co-ed school in Ethiopia. But why I say that is because if it was not for the aggression of the Vatican Rome, Emperor Victor Emmanuel, you would have seen that trend continue. And part of the reason why the European fascist collaborators, as Ras Iris would always say, conspired to stamp out that light in Ethiopia is precisely because Ethiopia had become a beacon for the African world, and it was spurring what Mama tradition said, the desire for black people to have land and to be free. And what is also not publicized is that His Majesty was actively encouraging them to come to Ethiopia. If you look at the State Department reports, the State Department was very worried, the American State Department, saying that His Majesty is encouraging the Negroes to come to Ethiopia, and the American government was actually denying visas and passports to African Americans who desired to go to Ethiopia. So the ones that did manage to get there were very resourceful, but many more were stopped, not only from Ethiopia but from all over the world. And I say this to say that as we rise, we have to be cognizant that there are forces that are actively trying to stop us from rising. And when we fight amongst each other, we do the work of these forces, for we fight not flesh and blood, but principalities and powers, wickedness in high and low places. So I give thanks that in Washington, D.C., in the bowels of the beast, that this Rastafari community is standing united. Bobo Shanti, Nyabingi, 12 Tribe, Orthodox, we are standing united as a community, and we are telling the world that it can be done, it will be done, and it shall be done. So I give thanks, Sister Donisha, and we pray that we can work together to continue this uprising. Give thanks.
Yes, it is a joy. We have to get ready to wrap up now. Alright, Sister Anjahla, have a question? Okay.
What you say? Question is pertaining to Pinnacle. What can we in the United States do to further the movements to agitate towards the government to, give you what you're asking?
All right, so very quickly, let me just tell you what we are asking for. At this point, we are suggesting that Pinnacle is 500 acres of land, but when you speak to Mr. Howell's children, they tell you that it is up to 2,000 acres of land. The Gleaner recorded 1,500 acres of land in St. Catherine, recognized as the Rastafari kingdom being led under the leadership of Percival Howell. This is in the 1940s. So even the acreage of the land is in question. All right, right now we're suggesting it's 500 acres. Out of that 500 acres, less than 120 acres is left unoccupied. Right now when you drive into the property of Pinnacle, it's now renamed St. Jago Hills. You're looking at 2, 3, 4 bedroom houses, some big ratted mansions, because the space is beautiful, You're talking about up in the mountains. I remember that St. Catherine is the first capital of Jamaica, before Kingston. So imagine you as a colonialist driving to your yard, and every time you drive to your yard, you have to look up on the mountain to see this big red, green and gold flag a fly high and the drums them a beat, and so it's a black man kingdom. The thing don't set good. So from that time until now, they don't want Rasta there. Alright, where are we now? In 2009, conversations had begun with the government. This is under the JLP administration, where it was understood that we were going to get 6 lots of identified heritage sites and 120 acres of unoccupied lands to speak about the development of a Rastafari village. Just know that each lot is equal to a 1/4 acre. So 6 lots is 1.5 acres. Out of 500 acres, you're talking about 1.5 acres that the government want to give us and smile with us like it's a nice thing. Anyways, we are agitating for the 120 acres of unoccupied land so that we can develop the industry of Rastafari. Not just living spaces for brothers and sisters, but the seed banks. Rastafari does not have space that will also benefit from this tourism that can go back into community development. There's so much opportunity in this space. This space can be a space where we prepare the thinkers and the doers to go to Africa and come back and workshop and share with us what they have learned. A space for indigenous Africans to come, and not just Africans, indigenous peoples of the world. You see? So the vision of Pinnacle is great. How can we here in America help us to activate this? We're going to need seed banks. We're going to need, like I said, we need ideas. That is the most important thing right now. Ideas, talent, art, time, vested interest. Funding, definitely funding. We always need funding. But beyond the funding, because Uncle Damien said a thing to me, he said, no one hear about no fundraising, they want to hear about financing. Because we're talking about the rehabilitation. Yes, it's not a one-off project. This thing has to become self-sustainable. That's another reason why I don't want begging no money. We need funds to start things and to do things, but at the same time, you can't give out of your pocket one time and feel like you've done enough, Rastafari has enabled our lives to be where we are right now. So it's really and truly, it's 10% of our life savings we should be giving towards this, the rehabilitation of Rastafari. For our youth, it's not, it's them where come benefit, We don't have benefit, See? We can write letters to the media. Let them know as Jamaicans or as people living abroad how you feel about the situation. It's a serious situation, especially if you are not Rasta. Make it even greater so you can write. We're Rasta, we're compromised. We're biased to the situation, but it's not a bias. Find out, share the information as far and wide as you can. Create more opportunities so that we can travel and go and speak to more people and let them know what's happening. We need to get into the academic institutions so that we can start to get some researchers starting to come down and write papers under our direction. So they're not doing it independently of us, we're working together. We have to start to prepare the curriculums and put Leonard Howell's name back in there and Annie Harvey's name back in there. We have to start to prepare the curriculums now, alternative education. We have to find the infrastructures and build them. There's so much work to do. I don't know if one conversation will have it. Just open up your hearts and your minds and you will find the work that needs to be done, find where you stand in it. And it's not a today and tomorrow thing, we're talking about years. Pinnacle reopened itself up to us right now within a time when they're talking about the legalization of ganja in Jamaica. You know what that means? Yeah, enough ganja can grow up Pinnacle. Enough money can start to make and start to be redirected in the right ways for proper community development. We as a Rastafari community have to be brave enough and stand up now and be the government of our people. Because our people need governing. We have to govern ourselves. Right now we're in the courts in Jamaica simply to do the due process. Because we know they're not going to give us no justice. When we were in the court recently and the lawyer stood up and she said that Rastafari has been discriminated against as an indigenous culture for so many years, the judge laughed and then rubbed his head and he said, well, I'm bald, who am I indigenous to? No, you know, it's a good question. He wants to know who he's indigenous to. That's a good question. But the intention behind the question is a concern. Can it show that the people that they still don't have a true understanding that Rasta is them? If them was freedom, would I realize that they are Rasta? Anyway, just like my sister said, we need to go beyond titles and beyond geographical locations and then bring them back to the mission. And let us not be deluded, because Pinnacle is not the end of this all. We still have to deal with Coral Gardens. We still have to deal with Bakawal. We still have to deal with Tibali. We have enough things to deal with, just like I was expressing to the brethren them last night. Our children still have to get vaccinated to go to school. Why is that? Why don't just feed them properly so they won't get sick? There's so much things that the Rastafari community has to do right now. We don't have no time to waste. We don't have no more time to sing and dance and them thing there. We got work to do. We still don't have a plane that say, here Rasta. We still don't have the shit that Marcus Garvey didn't want. How many of us in here speak an African language? Even a piece? You know? We really have to check ourselves and just, you know, step up now. Because when the youth, them will come and ask certain questions, you know, what we're going to tell them. Anyway, it was great being here this evening and great being able to share time and space. Sorry that we can't talk some more because there's school in the morning. But just more love and more life, and make we just feel strong and know that Rastafari is in good hands because we are the ones who are going in the hands. See? One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. I'm burn Babylon.
Family, please give another round of applause for our sister in the struggle, our warrior lioness, Empress Virgin is the hot fire underneath the ground promoting these things. Give thanks.
Yes, leadership does not mean domination. The world is always well supplied with people who wish to rule and dominate others. The true leader is of a different sort. He seeks effective activity. He or she seeks effective activity, which has a truly beneficial purpose. He inspires others to follow in his or her way, and holding aloft the torch of wisdom leads the way for our society to realize its genuinely great aspirations. And on that note, I want to say, to me, and I in this room, Donisha exemplifies this type of leadership. She does not seek to dominate anyone, and we know that the world is well supplied, as His Majesty himself said, because even some of these dominators are in our midst in the world and even claiming Rasta and trying to grab Rasta by they would have probably called it the bull horns, right? But we just ride it and just gently rub the mane of the lion. So we give thanks, Sister Donisha, for being here. It's always a pleasure. You know that this is the next home all the time. And you know, this is what we need for just keeping the I.D.O.R as we're moving forward, that all of us are leaders in something, and so you can't dominate our next man because you're going to hold him down, you're going to hold down the woman to realize what her contribution is to the whole. So give thanks again, Rastafari.
Give thanks. I know she doesn't want to come up here, but I want to say thank you to Mama Thea, who is another quiet storm and pillar in the community. Please give up my sister. This is Empress Minnie's tribute, one of our first celebrations in Washington for Empress Minnie's tribute this year. April 3rd is Empress Minnie's birthday, so we give thanks for the presence. And this is Women's History Month. Again, graciously, we give thanks for Sister Mama Bernita, the principal of Roots, and all of our elders, all of our youth, all of our family. While we clean up the chairs, please support our vendors. They are part of the reason that this event was able to happen. They actually helped to pay. If you'd like to support Occupy Pinnacle movement, all of the proceeds from this event go towards the sustainability of Pinnacle. Before we go, we're gonna have our word sound from our dear brethren, who honestly, without R.A.S.T.A, she probably wouldn't be here as well, because they are brethren and sisters, and it's a quiet storm over here. Please come and close us out. Duttyism, the reggae revival movement, this brethren is the hot fire underneath the ground promoting these things. Give thanks.
Yes, leadership does not mean domination. The world is always well supplied with people who wish to rule and dominate others. The true leader is of a different sort. He seeks effective activity. He or she seeks effective activity, which has a truly beneficial purpose. He inspires others to follow in his or her way, and holding aloft the torch of wisdom leads the way for our society to realize its genuinely great aspirations. And on that note, I want to say, to me, and I in this room, Donisha exemplifies this type of leadership. She does not seek to dominate anyone, and we know that the world is well supplied, as His Majesty himself said, because even some of these dominators are in our midst in the world and even claiming Rasta and trying to grab Rasta by they would have probably called it the bull horns, right? But we just ride it and just gently rub the mane of the lion. So we give thanks, Sister Donisha, for being here. It's always a pleasure. You know that this is the next home all the time, and you know this is what we need for just keeping the I.D.O.R as we're moving forward. That all of us are leaders in something, and so you can't dominate our next man because you're going to hold him down, you're going to hold down the woman to realize what her contribution is to the whole. So give thanks again, Rastafari.
Give thanks. I know she doesn't want to come up here, but I want to say thank you to Mama Thea, who is another quiet storm and pillar in the community. Please give up my sister. This is Empress Minnie's tribute, one of our first celebrations in Washington for Empress Minnie's tribute this year. April 3rd is Empress Minnie's birthday, so we give thanks for the presence. And this is Women's History Month. Again, graciously, we give thanks for Sister Mama Bernita, the principal of Roots, and all of our elders, all of our youth, all of our family. While we clean up the chairs, please support our vendors. They are part of the reason that this event was able to happen. They actually helped to pay. If you'd like to support Occupy Pinnacle movement, all of the proceeds from this event go towards the sustainability of Pinnacle.